Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about immigration in Mexico. So, the immigration is the act of leaving one's own country to settle permanently in another, moving abroad. For immigrants in Mexico, the top destination by far is the United States by a factor 150 to 1 compared to the second most popular destination, Canada. Immigration from Mexico began timidly about a century ago, but experienced a significant increase since the 1950s. The immigration phenomenon in the case of Mexico is diverse and varied through the country. This is due to the economic situation that applies mainly to impoverished people who seek better job opportunities in other countries. More than 11% of Mexico's native population lives abroad, making it the country with the most immigrants in the world. 98% of all Mexican immigrants reside in the United States, which are more than 12 million migrants. Estimates on the amount of Mexican immigrants of indigenous origin in the US range between 50% and 90% of the entire immigrant population. Now, talking about destinations, aside from the United States, Mexican immigrants have settled in Canada, Spain, Germany, Italy, the United Kingdom, France, Japan, and other countries. A large Mexican immigrant population also exists in Central and South American countries as Guatemala, Costa Rica, Cuba, Brazil, Colombia, and Chile. Generally, the people who tend to leave Mexico to the United States are from lower class backgrounds. They primarily come from the following 9 states: Zacatecas, Guanajuato, Michoacán, Oaxaca, Guerrero, San Luis Potosí, Hidalgo, Chiapas, and Sinaloa. In these states, it is not uncommon to see towns where men are absent and are supposed to be working in the United States, while the women take care of their children, husbands, send money to their families in Mexico. Now, talking a bit about history, following the Mexican-American War, which was concluded by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848, and later the Gadsden Purchase in 1853, approximately 300,000 Mexican nationals found themselves living within the United States. Throughout the rest of the 19th century, early 20th century, Mexican migration was not subject to any restrictions, and Mexicans were free to move across the border, and often did so, typically in order for them to work in professions such as the construction of the railway system or as seasonal agricultural laborers. From 1910 to 1920, the political violence and societal chaos caused by the Mexican Revolution also played a role in increasing migration northwards. Economic inequality, rural poverty, significantly lower wages, and better opportunities have also played a role throughout the 20th century as factors pulling Mexicans to migrate for the US. The immigration laws of the United States, such as Emergency Quota Act, generally allowed exemptions from Mexico, while being more restrictive to citizens of the Eastern Hemisphere. Mexicans received special licenses under United States immigration law due to the importance of Mexican labor in the United States economy. One example of these allowances is the Immigration Act of 1917. Under this act, all potential immigrants will have to pass a literacy test and pay a head tax. At the request of growers in the Southwest who depended on farm labor from Mexico, the Secretary of Labor waived those requirements for Mexican immigrants. The groups interested in the availability of inexpensive labor ensured that the immigration laws in place throughout the early 20th century did not adversely affect the movement of Mexican migrants, in spite of calls on the part of some of the southern states congressmen to put an end to the open border policies. And I'm just gonna end saying thanks for listening, and I hope this will help you to understand better how's the immigration in Mexico.